the situation with Skip, right? Was the frustration with Skip, or was the frustration with the network or the executives?
I think for me, I really appreciate Skip believing in me and bringing me there. Even when the network wanted him to hire a journalist, because I was really the first athlete to sit down and sit across from a journalist and debate topics.
Right.
People know that you can talk about football because obviously you played the game. Can he talk about basketball?
Right.
Can he talk about golf? Can he talk about baseball? Can he talk about social issues if they were to arise? So Skip believed that I could, and the opportunity presented itself, and I took full advantage of it. Maybe it was a combination of things. Maybe there's some things I could have done differently. Maybe I should have just had a conversation with Skip that before it even got to that point, maybe said something differently, but I don't know. It's really hard to say. I just think that that after 7 years and you with somebody, and this is what I tell people about relationships, it's easier to grow apart than grow together. And maybe that was the 7 year, you have 17-year locusts that they come once every 17 years. Well, maybe this was a 7 years, this was all I was supposed to get out of that. Maybe this was the bridge that I was supposed to travel on for 7 years. And then after that, that bridge was gonna collapse and it was gonna force me to go do something else.
But even then, was that the straw that broke the camel back?
See, if somebody else had said what Skip said, I wouldn't have batted an eye. But we're supposed to be teammates.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's what hurt me more than anything. My teammate, that's what he thought of me. It's kind of like when somebody else says something like, nothing gets you more upset than when your boys hit you.
Or somebody who really, you said 4 names. I know one of them was Sterling Sharpe.
Yeah, like my homeboy, and I know, like, we and my homeboys, we joke a lot, but I know where not to go.
It's to a degree.
Yes, you can joke, but let's not go there. Let's not play in that area.
Right.
And so I was like, and at that point in time, now here's the guy that I had stood up for Skip. When guys come on and try to take shots at Skip, I was there. I stood up. Nah, bro, this is not your show. This is Skip and Shannon. This ain't you. You're not going to take no shots. We're not going to do that, so forth and so on. And in that moment, to think that because I said Tom Brady wasn't playing well, and he wasn't playing well. And I think that's one of the things that most people like about me, because I don't have a problem. If a guy's not playing well, Cam, he's just not playing well.
And it happens.
But yes, and this is not to take away anything what that person has already accomplished. But we're talking about now. We're not talking about, we'll evaluate his career once it's over, but we're talking about in the moment, and he wasn't playing well. So I was just disappointed how it handled. I thought it could have been could have been handled better by management, but it was handled the way it was handled. I thank Fox for the opportunity. And the only thing that I get upset about, what I hear people say, Skip gave you, Skip made you. Now, had I not made it, what would y'all have said? They wouldn't have said Skip was the reason why I failed. So in other words, when I'm successful, you give him all the credit and give me none of it. So if I'd have failed, you'd have gave me all the blame and gave him none of it. So the thing, I guess Jay-Z coined the line, was, if he made me,
make another me.
Yeah. Because that's what I did with kids. I had one and I was like, let me see if I can do this again. I did another one, and let me see if I can. So I was 3 for 3. So yeah, so it should be relatively easy if you can just spit guys out, because they say he made Stephen A. Okay. He made Shannon. It's not as easy as one would think it is.
I say it like this, and we're gonna move on to this game. You better than me. Real shit.
I think the thing is, you know what, though, Cam? When I go, one of the first things when I sit down with advertisers or I sit down with sponsors, or I sit down with people that want to collab, one of the first things they say is that they're proud of how I handled that situation. The first, not that my resume or what I did, how you handled that situation in that moment. Right. And if you did not see that moment, if you just watched the rest of the show, you'd have never knew that happened. Right. Because the one thing that most athletes are great at is compartmentalizing.
That is a fact.
That happened. I knew it happened. There's no way around it. It was trending. You know, my homeboys were calling me, man, what's going on, man? I can't believe that, you know what, said that, blah, blah, blah.
Where he stay at?
You know, my sister's upset. Even my mom, and my mom, she watched, but she's like, so I've got a lot of emotions because I'm looking at my phone and I see all of a sudden this message. And I'm like, Shannon, you still got an hour and 45 minutes. You still got 2 hours in this show. Be professional. And then we'll address whatever needs to be addressed after the show.
Right.
And I was proud because
when you took them specs off,
man,
I said, somebody better get them. A couple of y'all better get them, because what I'm looking at now, what I was looking at then, still looking at, I'm like, whoa, who gonna stop them?
Yeah, I was visibly upset because if somebody would have told me that he would have done that to me, I wouldn't have believed it. But I appreciate it. I think one day we'll sit down and we'll have a conversation. Right. That hasn't happened yet. But he and I sit down and have a conversation because we did have 7 great years. Yes. And what I will not allow is that the 7 great years we had to be ruined by one moment.
Right.
And that happens a lot, even in relationships. You know, I've been in relationships for 10 years and all people harp about is the last 1 year or the last 6 months in which it wasn't good.
Right.
It's, you know, hey, if you're in a relationship, 80% of the time, 90% of the time, things go well. But somehow we seem to focus on the 10 to 20% when things don't go well, and we live in that area. And I won't do that.
Say less.